well manned to journey afar to the promised land. The golden ore is rich in store on the banks of the Sacramento shore.
And oh, boys, ho, to California, there's plenty of gold, so I've been told, on the banks of the Sacramento.
It all started in Sutter's Mill in 1849, and gold was discovered there. It was supposed to be a big secret, and it just got out and became a big bonanza, and people just came across country any way they could, every way imaginable. They came here with practically nothing. They had no equipment. They didn't have any money when they got here, and there were some very qualified people that did get here, and they did do very well. Of course, a lot of people didn't.
Henry Nielsen is a gold prospector in the 49er tradition.
A lot of the phrases we use today come from the 1849ers. One of the best examples I can think of is a man that has a store at a good location with a good product, a lot of traffic going by, people want what he has, and he's just making all kinds of money. That's a gold mine.
One 49er wrote, "Neither the Crusades nor Alexander's expedition to India can equal this emigration to California." Today, the only record of those days are the famous phrases, the faded photographs, and place names like prompt pay, Croesus extension, breadwinner, gold coin, big wampush, and we got 'em.
The gold is there most anywhere, we dig it out rich with an iron bar. But where it's thick with spade or pick, we take out chunks as big as a brick.
Then ho, boys, ho, to California, there's plenty of gold, so I've been told, on the banks of the Sacramento.
In 1849, the New York Herald wrote that all classes of our citizens are under the influence of this extraordinary mania. Some Americans are still bitten by gold fever.
I was working for an aircraft company at the time, and I decided maybe I'd rather do that, so I went out and tried it and found out I liked digging better than I did like turning nuts and bolts. I had this urge, I just had to just continue digging and panning. Even though I knew I was exhausted and tired and I was wet and I was hungry, but I just kept digging because I thought, boy, it's there. I'm going to get in the fast lane right now.
Dave Elliott leads the life of an old-timer, digging in Alaska in the summer, drifting south to winter in California.
I do tend to get a little people-starved. You get out there, it's in the bush, it's a bit remote, and you don't see a lot of people, and there's just you and the bears and what animals are around, but it's a bit lonely life, but it's a good life.
Gold and silver miners used to talk of an El Dorado and of hitting pay dirt.
Pay dirt is usually the layer of gravel and gold where it's mixed together, and usually it's where the gold settles, and when we pan that out, we call that pay streak, pay dirt.
Then as now, the prospectors panned for gold, and we still talk of things that pan out.
Panning out is where you have a master plan, and there's a lot of sequence to the plan, and a lot of things have to happen, and if everything happens in the correct orders at the right times, it pans out and you're making money. And you can tell a friend, you know that venture I did? It panned out for me.
Talk like this prompted Mark Twain to write, "The language of the Far West was slang."
Strike it rich, that's usually a phrase used when one gets into a good pay streak, where it pays very well. That's called strike it rich. Sometimes he shouts eureka if it's a large nugget. He might say, "Oh boy, I've got it," and Kate and I have a friend that says, "Hello." What do you think of that one?
Oh, look at that! That's a pennyweight.
Cowboy itself is an Old English word which found a new meaning in the American West. But the main source of cowboy language was Spanish. For centuries, much of the Southwest was known as New Spain. This long-standing bilingual society gave us words like stampede, sombrero, and desperado. In Nevada, Arizona, and here in New Mexico, these cowboys are not recently arrived Mexican immigrants. They're Americans whose family histories go back many generations. More at home in Spanish than English, they've been branding cows here for nearly 2 centuries.
Well, basically, we use a lot of English because that's what's being taught in the schools. But we have so many people coming in working for us that are Spanish descent from old Mexico, and there's a lot of Spanish being spoken, a lot of mixture, a lot of English with a lot of Spanish in between, you know, kind of 2 languages in one.
This sort of mixed society is the frontier of language change. And it gave the cowboys words like
rancho,
ranch,
corral,
corral,
rodeo,
rodeo,
bronco,
bronco,
cincho,
cinch,
lazo,
lasso,
chaparreras,
chaps,
bandana,
loco,
muy loco.
vamoose.
Vamos.
But long before the Spanish Americans, there were the Indians of the West. When the Plains Indians met the intruding paleface, both sides attempted a pidgin English, ironically the source of tough guy shorthand. Phrases like, no can do, long time no see, poignantly inarticulate memorials to a tragic culture clash. The cowboys of Texas were the real McCoy, as the phrase went. Big talkers with a taste for frontier words like lollapalooza, hornswoggle, discombobulate, squablification, and absquatulate. George Schaus and Gene Bell still talk and ride in the cowboy tradition.
Yes, I like it, but I've got to the point where I don't ride rope and shoot and lean on the bar like I used to. I've kind of settled down and I've quit the most of it.
Oh, I love it. I mean, for this kind of pay, if I didn't like it, I'd have quit a long time ago.
Well, I like being outdoors and working with livestock. You be out more or less freedom. You don't have someone looking down your neck all the time and using his pointing finger, do this, do that. You're on your own.
Takes a stubborn sucker to do it. And it takes a really tough son of a gun to do it, too.
The cowboys' life on the range threw up an irresistible kind of slang. For example, bite the dust.
It means you've got your tail end busted. It means he kicked the bucket or he's dead or...
Biting the dust to me is being bucked off a horse.
Hot under the collar means you're real mad. Tight as Dick's hat band means you're a penny pincher. You're really cheap, you know. You just hold on to your money really tight.
It's typical that they have at least 6 ways to describe themselves.
Cowboying, there's you call him a cowboy, cowpoke, cowpuncher, cowhand, ranch hand. But if somebody calls you a hand, he's a real hand, or she, it means you're real good at your job, and be proud of it. I don't know if I'm a hand or not. I hope so. I try at it real hard.
Backward, turn backward, old time with your wheels. Airplane, wagon, and automobiles. Dress me once more in sombrero that flaps, spurs and a flannel shirt, slicker and chaps. Put a 6-shooter or 2 in my hand. Show me the yearling to rope and to brand. out where the sagebrush